What's up, guys? Sub-Zero here, back for another VOD review. Today, I got a game from Tacticians Cup. This was day 2, and this is the winner of day 2, Eusolucas, a Brazilian player who actually won out on day 2, which is crazy because, day 1, I was talking about, NA did very well. We went 1, 2, 3. The top 3 were all NA players. NA, I would say, was expected to do very well in this tournament just because, NA is considered by many to be the best, if not the best, then one of the best regions. But being won out by a Brazilian player, really, really impressive. I did that VOD review of Fritz a while back, not, from Brazil, obviously, but from a region outside of NA. There are a lot of very strong players in the Americas, I would say. On average, NA is stronger, but there are a lot of fantastic players that are playing in this tournament. And, Lucas, first place overall, really, really cool to see. Also, apologies if my face is a little bit red. I literally just biked back home so that I could record this VOD review and go co-stream day 3 with Kai. I was touching grass on Saturday, so that's why I wasn't there. All right, first augment here. So it's an interesting selection, right? You could go what doesn't kill you. I think it's a solid augment in this spot. We're looking probably to Lost Streak. Clear Mind is a hard take from this spot. It's a fantastic augment, but we have no 2 stars yet, so it's a hard take. Lucas takes something that I kind of am surprised by here. He takes Trade Sector. I looked ahead a little bit in the VOD, so I saw that he took Trade Sector here. This kind of blows me away, just because Trade Sector is not an augment that I think that highly of. This patch in general. There's not a lot of reroll comps that you want to play towards. This patch, really, you want to play towards the 4-cost playstyle. And it was kind of broken last set, because headliners existed. You could get a free reroll for your headliner. There's no headliners now, so the value of a roll is just a little bit lower this set than it was, last set. So it's an interesting pickup for me. He also manages to fit Exalted here. That's that Shen, Sivir, and Janna setup here. And with the Trade Sector, with this Janna pair, Lucas already starts thinking about something pretty interesting. And then another 2 Jannas here. He says, you know what? This is going to be a Janna reroll game, which I love. This is one of my sort of like pet comps, one of my comps that a lot of people are kind of low on this comp. They're low on reroll in general, but I think this is one of the reroll comps that actually has the potential to cap out really, really high. It's also, relatively uncontested. People are going to take some of your Zyras, but you don't need to go for like a Zyra 3 or anything. You can just play around Janna and stuff like that. And yeah, you get to play a very, very strong board. The other wild thing about this comp, I've sung the praises of Zyra. I've also talked a little bit about how well Janna stabilizes you. You get to play around Janna, just a fantastic unit. So if you can 2-star Janna, which we already have, and then just get items on her and some kind of frontline, Janna can dominate. I've seen Janna destroy matchups that I was surprised about, just because you put a Janna, you put a decent frontline, she juices the frontline so much, the spot becomes insane. Lucas here wants to go for the sword so that he can complete Shojin for Janna, one of Janna's better items, just to get her casting. A lot of people really like way back in the day, the BS was like Gwinsu Shojin. I think that's not necessarily thought of, or like Gwinsu Archangel, I think was the BIS on PBE. I think people have moved more towards stuff like Shojin and Nashers to actually get her casting more. Obviously Gwinsu is still fine on her because she wants to, buy time, scale up. Stuff like Archangel is still fantastic on her. So, those are things you can consider. But I think the itemization is a lot more flexible than I think people realized back in the PBE days. So yeah, we're holding on to a lot of these Storeweaver units because you do want to play towards a Storeweaver board later. Love the pickup of the blue Kale, just because, I don't know, I love blue Kale in general, and he's going to still keep Exalted in here and make some slams here. The crazy slam in this spot is not the Shojin. Shojin, of course, a good item on Janna, but the Jeweled Gauntlet Janna. It's an item that I think a lot of people are kind of low on. People don't like making JG, but I think it's coming back a little bit. People are realizing that it's a little underrated. Obviously, this JG item isn't fantastic, but it's a second full item onto Janna here, which allows us to scale our damage off the fact that we've made Shojin here. And it's just, the fact that we have a Janna 2 here really, really incentivizes us to itemize her. We're also using Trade Sector. We're going to get to a Janna 3 way sooner than, we would normally get to it. So there are a lot of upsides to actually making this Jeweled Gauntlet. Also, Lucas may be predicting the future a little bit, realizing that he was going to get no items off Krugs. Yeah, not possible. But Very, very nice now with the fact that we got no items off Krugs. We would have been forced to basically slam this JG at that point. So maybe a little bit early of a slam, but it ends up actually working out fantastically. Also love the flexibility of this board. This 3 Exalted board hits an Atrox 2 and just throws that onto the board. It fits beautifully. It's Bruiser, it's Ghostly, it's everything that you could ever want on this board. It's more frontline for the Janna, which is exactly what we need. Janna with the Sivir attack speed, with the Kale supplementing the damage a teeny tiny bit, is going to be perfect here. Augment-wise, here we already have the Lotus. Ooh, I love this, by the way. He doesn't want to tailor for any traits here. He's going to look at potentially Martyr just to buy more time for Janna to, you know, scale up, do damage. He's also thinking Gifts of the Fallen. I don't know if he did a stat check there, but I wouldn't be surprised if he did, because I'm actually not sure what's best there between Martyr and Gifts. But when you have a comp like this that scales very well, you tend to really want to take stuff like Martyr that just gets you there, right? Martyr is going to build up enough time for Janna to get more casts off. Especially if she ends up getting like an Archangels later, that'd probably be our best last item. You know, buying time for that potential Archangels is fantastic. Also, you know, heal units up, shield them up, can make a frontliner live way longer. He's still looking at that Exalted, by the way. You saw he was pulling that up because there is a Silas in there, which is a fantastic unit to fit on boards like this. So maybe we'll see a pretty flexible setup here. He gets support armory or an item armory here, and he goes for the support item. I was thinking potentially Ornn item for maybe like a frontline item. The thing is that there's not really an Ornn item that you want on Janna here. You don't really want like a Mana Zane or anything like that. Maybe Zanya's, but she'd be a little bit low damage. Maybe Zanya's later for like the Silas. But he ends up going support Anvil here. Takes the Q-Cone, the Chalice of Power here, which is a fantastic pickup. More AP, more mana for the Janna. Fits really, really well with the JG because you want to get to that AP threshold. I forget what the exact threshold is, but there's a threshold of AP where JG becomes better than Death Cap, and we might just barely be at it now with the AP from JG, Shojin, and the Q-Cone. If not, we're almost there. But yeah, I mean, a solid spot. The other solid thing is we keep getting these like double Janna shops. There's also another Janna on Carousel here, which I would think we would pick up. It's Janna with potentially half of an Archangels, half of a Static Shiv. So this has to be the pickup, I would say. And now we're insanely close to Janna 3. We actually pick up an Annie, which is fantastic. So that's actually going to suggest to Lucas that he wants to pivot the board. He can pivot into the Annie here. He can still make gold. Now this board is a little scuffed, yeah, because we ended up cutting some of the stuff that we really wanted to keep in. Now we're just playing around Annie and Invokers, but yeah, I mean, it makes some amount of sense. We don't really need the Exalted in right now because we're level 6. It's not a huge impact in the amount of damage that we're doing, and we don't really like need the XP at this point. We can just sort of like naturally level up from this spot. So yeah, pivoting to the Annie, I could certainly see it. Oh my god. And this is pretty good that we got the Janna early, because now we can get early levels. We can level up here to 7 really, really quickly. Start getting in the pieces of the board that we want to play, the Soraka, the Diana. Normally, you know, we're holding onto this Nico on bench. Normally you end up fitting Nico and Zoe on this board over Annie and Garen. That is like the default board here. But Annie, obviously a fantastic unit. We also don't have the Zoe, so we don't have Arcanist that we can get in from that. That's also going to be some more AP for the entire board for the Janna. Oh, I wasn't even thinking about the fact we also have the AP from Kale. So surely we're at a spot here where JG is better than Death Cap. And I mean, Death Cap's a fantastic item. So nice to see, you know, the usage of the JG in a spot where it actually could make sense. Though honestly, I forget what the calculations must have changed with the changes to Death Cap. So I don't know. Someone probably has a table out there or a number. If you're one of those TFT numbers geniuses, tell me in the comments what the AP difference has to be for JG to be better than Death Cap, because there used to be a spreadsheet, but there's not anymore. We pick up some tank items, which is really, really nice here. We want to actually get to some kind of tank items at this point. We're actually going to level really quickly to 8 here and start adding units. And ooh, this is a pretty cool board. So we're not playing that Nico Zoe version of the board that you normally see people play. We're actually playing around Galio, the Annie, and the Lee Sin. Going to make Gargoyle for more frontline items, and then the Static Shiv. Yeah, I love this. We didn't have MR Shred, and we need frontline items. The only kind of awkward thing now is we're left with Sword for Janna, which I'm not really sure what that's going to be. Double Shojin. Maybe, yeah, he's trying to figure it out himself. And oh, we get Enter the Dragon here. I mean, it's kind of wasted that it gives us a Janna. And I think the stats don't say that this augment is actually insane in a spot like this, because you're only just carrying the Janna here. I guess eventually maybe we'll get to carrying the Diana or like tanking the Diana later. So I guess we'll see. The only problem with saying an augment like this, I mean, I guess we're playing Lee Sin as well. The idea might be that we actually get to a more vertical Dragonlord version of this board, which is not what you usually see played. but it certainly could make sense, right? If you play around the Janna, you play, you know, you get some items onto the Lee Sin. Look at the damage this Janna does, by the way. 8k damage there, just barely. Does not win the fight, sadly, but still a very, very good try out of the Janna. But yeah, I mean, at this point, we're trade sectoring on level 8. Pick up a Galio too. This is fantastic for us. Now we actually have a solid front line, and I mean, we can probably just go 9 from this position. This game has really made trade sector look good, because we played what was a very uncontested board, right? We're not... Ooh, and he also reforged the sword, and he ended up getting tier. That's really nice. Yeah, I was thinking about that as well, if we want to reforge it. He does end up going for the reforge. I think it makes a lot of sense. The sword has very limited uses here. For Janna, it has to basically be Shojin. I guess you could go like Gunblade or something, but Janna kind of has a built-in Gunblade in that, you know, she has shielding on her ability. I think we'd most prefer to go Archangels here. It also makes a lot of sense. We get that bonus damage from the dragon, and then the extra AP from Archangels, so late into the fight we'd be one-tapping people, though can't pick it up here. You could also just go a Redemption here onto the Galio. This might be the slam, just if we want to play for streak here, slam a full Redemption here. Ooh, and that is a Zyra Khan. Nothing wrong with that, so now we can play around that. Yeah, I mean, I'm really surprised by how well Trade Sector has done this game, but I feel like there's been so many spots here where, look, just free reroll, we get a Zyra Khan. Free reroll, we get, you know, some extra Jannas. Free reroll, we get Galio. I've been very impressed by just playing a line that's relatively uncontested most boards. You know, if you're not playing like Kaisa, you're not playing Galio. It's like Kaisa or like Silas, you're not playing Galio. This seems like a lobby where maybe Galio was a little uncontested. And I mean, yeah, getting Galio too. We're in a fantastic spot here. 70 HP, just pushing 9. The 4 Dragonlord version of the board is so cool, by the way. This is not your mama's not I'm sorry. Janna board, where you know you normally play that Zoe, like I was talking about, the Zoe plus the Nico here. No, this is a cool alteration where we play around Galio as our main tank. We get 4 Dragonlord in. That makes use of the Enter the Dragon here. So, you know, Rakan, Lee Sin not doing a ton of damage, but definitely doing a little bit of damage here. And if potentially later in the game we can get something like a TG onto the Rakan, you know, the Rakan can actually do really good damage. Not getting baited here by some extra Rivens. Riven 3 is kind of a piece of garbage. They are actually buffing Riven next patch, so maybe we'll see some Riven 3 action. I think that's what they want. That will be fun to play around, we'll see. But yeah, I mean, at this point, we just want to push levels. Get a Wukong in on level 9 is usually the default addition. We pick up the Archangels, which is perfect for us here. We still have a component anvil open here? Or I think we naturaled that. Oh, and he's a little bit... No, okay, we used our component anvil to make the Archangels. But yeah, I would say that's the best possible item we can make here. And then all we have to look for down the line is just a 3rd Galio item, and our spot will be fantastic. The only scary thing about playing 2-cost reroll like this is stage 5, stage 6, you're going to start to get outscaled a little bit. Janna was very strong stage 4, as you guys could see. But during the stage, when everyone's hitting their 2-star 4 costs, potentially 2-star 5 costs, the board starts to fall off a bit. So we do need to level here, stabilize the board, ideally find that Wukong, like I was talking about. Morgana's another random addition for Sage, perhaps. He's going to throw in a random Azir here, or Invoker for our entire board, and just because Azir is a fantastic unit. I could certainly see it. I think it makes a lot of sense. But yeah, Wukong has to be the best option here. It is Sage, it is Heavenly, it's also Wukong, just being a cool guy. The Heavenly bonus, just giving some attack speed and AP to our entire board, is really nice. We get chewed through here by this Kayn. I'm actually surprised that our front line can't support enough to actually tank through this Kayn, but looks like this Kayn was doing a ton of work on our board, though we do finally pick up that Wukong. Also, we are trade sector here. I don't know what the rest of the lobby looks like, but a Galio 3 isn't out of the realm of possibility here, depending on how contested this guy is. Yeah, I like this positioning here. Put the Galio as a main tank in the middle. Ooh, only scary thing is that is a Lissandra 2 that's going to cast on a Galio, do a punch of damage, and then if he lives, throw him into the backline. We do end up killing the Lissandra with our Janna, though this fight still a little scary. I think we're out of the woods here, because one more cast from Janna will one-tap this backline. Oh my god, those 2 crits there, 17k damage from the Johnny. I love to see it. And yeah, that guy's a Galio that we just scouted there, so that's someone we have to watch out for, someone who ideally want to go down. Looks like, yeah, maybe we just take another Galio here. It's a red buff, which the only heal cut that we have on this board right now is Zyra, which is not really what you love. We end up just, wow, Wukong 2 on 9. Another trade sector. I'm becoming a trade sector believer after watching this game. I still probably wouldn't take it as my first augment, you know, like every game I could, but trade sector slight reroll comp like I mean, this is a comp that loves trade sector, actually. It makes a lot of sense because you can reroll at every level. You can reroll for Janna at level 6 and level 7, and then you start rerolling for the 3 costs like Diana, and then you can also push levels and do this. You get value out of finding the 5 costs. So this actually seems like a fantastic board for trade sector the more that I think about it. But yeah, I mean, at this point, we're just chilling, making as much gold as possible, waiting for that person who's holding the Gallios. I didn't see who that was exactly, but whoever's holding the Gallios, we want them to go down. And then potentially, I mean, we have 5 Gallios already. We have the trade sector rolls. Maybe we can pick up a Galio 3. This is a capped lobby, man, by the way. This guy has Lysandra 2 on 9. I know we have Wukong 2, but kind of pales in comparison to the Lysandra 2. We live a while in this front line. One more Janna cast. Yeah, it's just barely not enough to win this fight. That guy is a capped heavenly board at 9. My god, the Lysandra 2, the Morgana with good items. They have fantastic augments, the Hand of Justice augment, the little buddies. Yeah, that is a scary board. And even just the frontline Lysandra, which is so sick, just saying, you know what? She is tanky enough with these items. She's not going to go down. I actually love it. But yeah, I mean, at this point, we're probably not able to go 10. Oh, the other obvious consideration that I didn't talk about in terms of finding a Galio 3 is that we have a duplicator, right? We only need to find 3 Gallios at this point. That's one more. He gets the Hui, but it's really tough to get a Hui onto this board to paint a Galio. Also, we have to live 4 rounds to get there. Get a blue buff onto the Wukong, which is fantastic. 2 Gallios off. I mean, this player only has 1 Galio, so... Oh, actually, no, there's 1 on the bench as well, so they're holding 2. Yeah, I feel like you have to wait for this guy to die. The question is, though, are they gonna die? I mean, they're level 10. This fight looked really solid, but then Salas healed to full. 1 more Janna cast gonna kill a lot. Is it enough? If we kill this guy off, that's 2 Gallios out of the pool. It is a dub there. So now, just need to find 2. We have trade sector rolls. Didn't see if anyone else was holding them, but I love this. Just the roll down here before people become too aware. He's gonna sit at 10 gold here. Nobody holding Gallios, it looks like. Everyone kind of trying to, you know, they're playing for their own lives in this spot, right? So it's actually kind of hard for a lot of those people to deny here. Ooh, this is kind of rough positioning, though. This does give the possibility of Lee Sin wrapping to backline. Ends up actually being okay, but our front line does die before our backline. Another close fight against this Kane board, but we just can't get through it. He's holding onto the Wukong, which I think is interesting here, because we could make 20 there, but maybe he's holding out hope for a random Wukong 3 idea. I don't know. I mean, that would be surprising to me, but maybe we just randomly high roll some Wukongs, and that's like our last ditch effort. If we can't cap out some of these boards, we just sell our board and go for Wukong 3. I mean, that would be a pretty sick angle, though. I don't know if we're going to get there. Fighting Bishop's board again. We beat him last time, but it looks like his board has gotten a lot stronger since then. And yeah, the big issue right now is we just don't have the front line to supply this board, you know, this Lysandra, the Kaisa, just all these 5 costs do so much work on our front line. Oh my god, that is a Galio, but surely somebody knows. Yeah, really good pickup. Unfortunate that we can't get that here, so we're going to be forced to take a BT here for our Wukong. A great Wukong item, but so sad that we can't pick up the Galio. We actually roll here. I would have checked to see maybe if somebody sold that Galio, but looks like we're just gonna... Oh, this is so sad to see the Gallios at that point, but yeah, he just ends up having to use the duplicator here to make a Lee Sin too, so that we are as alive as possible. We actually third row the Wukong here, so he ends up getting Sage AP instead of Omnivamp. I think it's just a positioning thing, which I think is actually pretty smart here. We're fighting Clone. We buy a lot of time. We get through a lot of the big tanks. We actually win this fight versus Clone. Huge, because that must mean it's a top 2, and now it's just us and Mr. Dish Soap. Dish Soap's board, though, looks really capped, and our board, we have a lot of kind of random units still stuck on the board just because of, you know, what we have to play when we play this board. We have a lot of stuff that, yeah, I don't think our board can outcap this, especially with no third Galio item, no ability for us to tank. But we'll see. We'll do our best here. Ooh, Wukong taking a ton of just random AoE damage here, and yeah, it doesn't even look close. A really nice second from Eusolucas, though, that, you know, this is a player that I think... oh, and he has an avatar background. Really cool. And a comp that I think, you know, a lot of people, I would say, underrate. So, hope you guys enjoyed this video. If you did, please like, comment, subscribe. Check my Twitch and all my other links down below. Like I said, link in the description to the co-stream. We should be live as this video comes out. Thanks for watching. Bye.